Well, Tech for Seniors, episode 49. This is March the 1st, eh? 2021. Spring is coming. Exactly. And we're almost close to a year of continuous broadcast. Hey, guys, that's pretty cool. So I want to welcome everyone here today. This is, of course, Tech for Senior. You are on our Zoom meeting. Again, thanks for coming. We do appreciate you. We also have a streaming service over on YouTube now. So we have a bunch of people over on YouTube watching us as well. And we would like to thank those people on YouTube for being there. The meetings are a little bit different. Those of you who are on the Zoom meeting, it will go on for the first hour, and then we will have a question and answer period after the meeting, and that usually goes on for about 15 or 20 minutes. The meetings, of course, are all recorded, and as I was saying earlier, you can play them back and watch them as often as you want. We're really happy with that. Over on the YouTube side of things, we will continue on for the first for about 50 minutes, and then just before the music segment, we'll be ending our YouTube broadcast. For those of you who haven't seen the end, you can certainly watch the live recording that we record, and we'll have that up on our site probably by the end of the day. So thank you so much for everyone for coming, and I do say thank you for coming because none of the staff here at Tech for Senior get paid. It's all a volunteer organization, and we get paid in kindness. And your ability to come and support us and be here is the rewards that we want to see. And it's so rewarding to see that there's 100 people here, and we even have people streaming as well. So that is our reward and our great things. And also saying nice things about us is always helpful too. We respond well to kindness, don't we? Yeah, so I think I can speak, we respond real well to kindness. But anyway, so thank you for being here. Now, I'd like to introduce everyone today. We have a really big show, so I'm not going to talk too long. But anyway, I'm going to introduce, first of all, Hewie. Hewie, you've had a great week. You've been working hard on your website, haven't you?
I have, and I hope by next week I'll be able to have it live and introduce it.
That'll be great. We could even use that as part of the show, eh?
Absolutely.
Also, Tech for Senior website, of course, was redesigned this week. I had some downtime and thought, well, why not do that? So if you're over at our website, have a look. Some of the features have been changed a bit there. Bob, congratulations on your 61st wedding anniversary with Alice. Congratulations.
Thank you much.
I hear you're going to tell us all about your you've got some videos of your vacuum today.
Yes, sir.
Very good. And let's say, Ray, so what's new in music?
Well, I have a surprise today. I'm going to do another one of Elvis, but one I'm thinking most people haven't heard before. But getting back to Bob's 61st anniversary, I know several people who've been married 61 years, except it's been to 2 or 3 different people.
Bob, that is to one person.
That's the only person. That's the only person.
All right. And then Dewey, besides eating my oranges, what have you been doing this week?
Well, I'll tell you, I've got a lot of projects going around our place. Plus, I'm doing my best for Tech for Seniors and having a lot of fun.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much. I have to tell you that March is an interesting time. And Dewey will sort of know this because usually we're in Arizona and it's the last month before we come home in April. And it's called the turkey dinners. And many of you probably know that around Christmas time, when you're buying all these groceries down in Arizona, you get free turkeys. And so you throw them in the freezer and they sit there, and then you have to eat them by March, because in March, at the end of the month, you're going home. So you got to eat up all this food. And so there's all these turkeys. And so everybody is having turkey dinner. So oftentimes in March, we go, because at the end of March, you've got to have everything empty. All the freezers are all gone. So you have 700 people all emptying their freezers. And so they're, you're eating turkey 3 times a week. You're always going to the turkey dinners. So the most I miss about March is the turkey dinners, because we're not we're not having all this turkey. So I might have to go and buy a turkey and cook it. So just to let you know, the follow-up. So this week's going to be fun because the Buzz Project. Now, I'll just let you know that I signed up for one of their sessions, and we're going to do foreign films. New films, actually, and the one we're doing is the Florida Project, and we're going to watch that this week. And then on Sunday we sit down and do a 1 hour evaluation of the show, and it's sort of fun. It should be interesting. So I haven't watched the video yet, or the movie. But
What is that project?
The Florida Project. And it's available on Netflix, and we're going to watch the show, and then we get to do a evaluation of it. So that's sort of fun. Okay, just one quick one. I'm going to share my screen and show everybody this. I want to announce our new Facebook page. Now, for those of you who we've actually had the Facebook page for about a year, since last August, and we post our newsletters to the Facebook page. But I wanted to let you know that it's now fully operational. Our staff is posting to the page. The goal of this page is to provide seniors timely information on technology. It's not anything to do with social posts. There's no humor, no funny videos. It's basically videos regarding technology. It is and the only people that can post on this site are our staff. And we just had a staff meeting earlier today to discuss how this is going to work. And for example, if you look here, this is one of the posts I posted about half an hour ago. This is the new Samsung Galaxy Chromebook 2. This just come out. This is the first unboxing of it. This is going to be a winner. Learn more about Chromebooks, learning with Chromebooks, Hewie and Ron. And this is a monthly workshop you can sign up for, and then so on and so forth. So we will be posting on this. So why would you want to look at this? Well, if you want timely technology that's not going to take a lot of your time, because so much of time on Facebook is a waste. This is very focused. It will only be technology issues, and if you want to watch it and have a look at it, that's fine. We will be announcing in about 3 weeks, we will be having a Tech for Senior Facebook group, which will be like-minded people talking about technology. And that's another issue coming up. So I just want to let everybody know, if you want to look at the page, it's just on Facebook, Tech for Senior, or the links are all on our websites, or on Tech for Senior websites, or it's in the newsletter as well. So just to let everybody know, I think we're away to the races now. Bob, are you ready to roll?
Yes, sir. The Avast Security News Roundup for the week ending February 26th, 2021. AI can make you do what? A new study published by researchers at the University of Amsterdam, Max Planck Institute, Otto Beisheim School of Management, and the University of Cologne revealed that AI-generated advice could corrupt people's morals, even when they know the advice is coming from a machine. The volunteers were given either honesty-promoting advice or dishonesty-promoting advice, some written by humans and some written by artificial intelligence, and then tasked with an activity that allowed room for lying. The statistical results was that the AI-generated advice was indistinguishable from the human-written advice, and the volunteers generally chose the dishonest path. This led the researchers to conclude that bad actors could use AI as a force to corrupt a victim's morals. Maybe we should hold machines to a higher standard than what we expect from ourselves. Australian bill cracks down on cyber abuse. Parliament in Australia is reviewing the proposed Online Safety Bill 2021, which would in essence extend the cyberbullying rules protecting children so that adults are protected in the same way. The bill also expands children's protection by giving them the right to be free from harmful content, not only in the realms of social media, but also within games, on websites, and using other online services. The e-safety commissioner would gain the right to issue content takedown notices directly to the offending services and end users, with a mandated takedown time halved from 48 to 24 hours. Non-compliant entities would face penalties of up to 550,000 Australian dollars for companies and 111,000 Australian dollars for individuals. Does Clubhouse share data with China? A report by the Stanford Internet Observatory confirmed that the popular audio-only hang-up app Clubhouse has ties to China, which could indicate that app data may be shared with the Chinese government. SIO learned that Agora, the Silicon Valley company that provides the real-time voice platform for the app, is actually the U.S. extension of its Shanghai-based headquarters. Under People's Republic of China rule, the government can seize any data from any company if it pertains to a criminal investigation. This is of particular concern to Chinese citizens who use the new app to chat freely about forbidden topics, like the PRC blocked its use on February 8th. To learn more about the trendy new app, check out Avast's in-depth look at Clubhouse. Inmate commits romance fraud from behind bars. A recently released ex-convict shared his romance fraud adventures with BBC News, explaining how he swindled money from multiple lonely hearts while he was serving a prison sentence. "I just saw how easy it was," the fraudster told the BBC, recounting how he picked targets by looking for women who seemed lonely and lacking attention from others on the dating app. Once he was convinced they were falling in love with him, he began asking them for money. The UK reported almost 7,000 cases of romance fraud in 2020, costing victims a collective £7 million. And there's been a 20% increase in those numbers since the pandemic started. This type of fraud happens in all parts of the world. Don't become a victim. If you're navigating the online dating world, be sure to read Avast's senior writer Emma McGowan's deep dives into which dating apps protect your privacy. Ukraine claims DDoS attacks came from Russia. According to Bleeping Computers, Ukraine's National Security and Defense Council is accusing bad actors on Russian network of launching DDoS attacks upon government websites in the Ukraine defense and security sector since mid-February. The organization discovered new malware was being used in the attacks, which hijacked the victimized machines, making them into part of the botnet. Some experts believe the attacks are acts of retaliation for the arrests of certain alleged members of the Agrera ransomware threat group, apprehended recently by Ukraine law enforcement. State-sponsored attacks are often tried in one country before spreading elsewhere. Botnet hides backup IP in Bitcoin blockchain. Analyzing a botnet found in the wild, researchers discovered it was using a Bitcoin blockchain to store its backup IP address. If the botnet's command and control IP addresses were to be compromised, the botnet was programmed to use a backup IP it was to find by decoding the last two transactions of a certain Bitcoin wallet. It would then use the algorithm to convert the transaction amounts into a new IP address that would then regain control of the botnet. By using the blockchain, the botnet operators ensured that their data could never be blocked, taken down, or censored. Unfortunately for them, it was easily foiled all the same. Adding in any new transaction to the wallet, such as a deposit of the minimum amount of 0.0004 cents, changes the data retrieved by the botnet, disrupting the backup plan. Read more on Ars Technica. And that's a wrap for this week's Avast Security News Roundup. Stay safe, stay secure. I'll see you next week. Bye-bye.
Well, thank you. Thanks a lot, Bob. Well, now I'm going to share my screen and we're going to see what Dewey has to say. Let me share.
Good morning, everyone. This is Dewey, and my Tech Talk topic for today is streaming and cord cutting update. In my Tech Talk number 11 on streaming and cord cutting in early December, I defined TV streaming as using the internet to provide both live and pre-recorded TV, thus allowing users to watch what they want to watch and whenever they want to watch it. Cord cutting was defined as canceling a cable or satellite subscription and instead using the internet to provide your TV watching experience. In today's streaming and cord cutting update, I'll bring you up to date on some recent news in this fast growing segment of technology. If you have any questions on streaming or cord cutting or have information you'd like to share, please feel free to leave it in our Zoom chat or send me an email at deweyclose@gmail.com. Protocol.com recently reported that the 5 largest pay TV providers, which includes names like DirecTV, Dish Network, Comcast, and so forth, lost a combined total of 5.5 million subscribers in 2020. Astonishing. Comcast in particular lost 227,000 subscribers just during the fourth quarter of 2020, compared to 133,000 during the same quarter a year before. Cord cutters may wonder how much internet speed they really need for streaming. In a CNET article this past week, Kristen Bolden writes, "Your goal is to pay for what your usage needs require." So, what's the definition of require? With smartphone home gadgets growing in prevalence and media consumption increasingly driven by streaming, in my opinion, it makes sense to opt for something closer to at least 100 megabit service, if available to you. Often, the cost of 100 megabit service will be in the $50 per month range. Point. A dual band router allows you the option to connect your streaming TVs via the 5 gigahertz frequency. Though 5 gigahertz has less coverage range than 2.4, 5 gigahertz is faster and has less chance of interference from other devices. If you have a streaming TV that's too far from your router to use the faster 5 gigahertz speed, and I have that situation, perhaps it's time to explore a mesh system router to solve the problem. In my opinion, it's best to have all of your streaming TVs set to the same router speed, especially if they're using the same streaming system, Roku, Fire TV, Apple TV, so forth. This allows the streaming system's smartphone app to provide private listening and other controls to all TVs. I have the Roku smartphone app, and I just love it. It's terrific. Another reason to have the highest possible internet speed for streaming is that it helps streaming TV channels load faster. Regarding the more demanding 4K high definition HDR TV, super high definition, 100 megabit service is easily fast enough to still have bandwidth left over to handle a number of internet connected devices at the same time. Moving on, I came across another story titled, "Google TV will include a new basic mode to make your smart TV dumb." Sounds interesting. TheVerge.com reports that Google TV, Google's latest attempt at TV software, will include a new basic TV mode that strips out a TV's smart features in favor of providing simple access to live TV and HDMI inputs. It's a potential boon to anyone who's ever wanted to dumb down their smart TV because they'd prefer to use an external streaming device, Roku, Fire TV, and so forth, because they value privacy. Google TV debuted the new Chromecast in 2020. Remember, Ron told us about this, offering a new interface built on Google's existing Android TV software. It will soon be offered as built-in software for TCL and Sony's upcoming new TVs. Owners can select the basic TV mode it's set up, and doing so strips out the operating system's apps, content recommendations, that's a blessing, and Google Assistant support. It's possible to revert back to the standard interface at any time, but selecting the basic mode can only be done at the initial startup. Got to remember that. There are plenty of reasons that people might want to remove all the smarts from a smart TV. Many users rely on Amazon streaming devices from Apple, Roku, or Amazon for their streaming content and feel that a duplicate interface built into their TV just gets into the way. Cord Cutters Weekly reported that their followers named Pluto TV as the best free streaming service of 2020. Pluto TV is up and coming, by the way, and announced in early December that it was adding 5 new channels. And Tubi, which streams free movies and TV, will add nearly 80 local news station feeds to their lineup. It's the first time they're offering news. Apple TV owners owning the older Apple TV 3rd Gen are seeing this message pop up on their screens. Starting early March, the YouTube TV app will no longer be available on Apple TV 3rd Gen. Apple TV owners can still watch YouTube on Apple TV 4K, Apple TV HD, iPhone, or iPad with AirPlay. They can also stream YouTube from their iOS devices directly to any Apple TV. That would be 3rd generation or later, of course. By the way, the Apple TV Plus app is now available on Chromecast with Google TV's streaming device. It will also arrive on other Google's devices, including new TVs by Sony and TCL and other devices yet to be revealed. And yes, you can use the Google Assistant to access Apple content with your voice if you so desire. Roku's free Roku channel is adding 13 new channels to its free lineup of over 165 channels. And Disney Plus capped off 2020 by reaching an astonishing 95 million subscribers worldwide. The popular Ookla app, speedtest.net, I think most of you are familiar with it, has been updated to help users gauge the video quality of their internet connection as well. Google's YouTube TV will be offering a new add-on package with 4K streaming, offline viewing, and unlimited number of concurrent streams at the same time at your home location. We'll also be adding an Entertainment Plus add-on, which will include HBO Max, Showtime, and Stars for an additional payment of $30 per month, a saving, wow, of $5 per month. YouTube TV kicked off 4 years ago this weekend and now has more than 3 million US subscribers, 85 plus networks, and offers unlimited TV. And I've been there since a couple of months after it kicked off. Many TFSers out there will be sad to learn that Fry's Electronics is ceasing operations as of February 24th and closing all of its more than 24 stores that are found mainly in the Southwest from Texas to California. Well, that's my Tech Talk story for today, and I'm sticking with it. So take care, thanks for watching, stay safe, and have a great day.
Thanks so much, Dewey. That was really interesting. There'll probably be lots of questions in the question and answer about that. That is really cool that all those streaming services are coming to YouTube, eh? That's pretty interesting.
That one point I said that coming to YouTube TV, and that was wrong. They're coming to YouTube. I apologize for that.
YouTube. Yeah, that's even better because I don't have YouTube TV, but that would be sort of really cool. I am super interested in that. Thanks so much. That was really a good, I learned a lot on that one. Thanks so much. Now, Bob, are you ready to go? I want you to watch. Bob's going to show you now. He's going to show you something, and I want you to watch how his vacuum cleaner works. Now, in our case, in my case, it's the bump and grind, where it sort of comes along. It's the Roomba, but it doesn't have the LiDAR, and it comes along and sort of hits the wall and then sort of goes along and it goes around the, but you watch this.
Let's have a little fun.
Yeah, watch this.
So I'm mounting my GoPro on top of the Wyse Vacuum. And as you'll see right in the beginning, it didn't work so well because I mounted it in the wrong place and LiDAR started going nuts. It's not until I changed its location and put it on top of the LiDAR device that it actually started to work properly. I'm now mounting it on top of the LiDAR unit, and that takes care of the problem. That should be enough of a little indication of just how this Wyse robot vacuum works. I'm not going to keep it on while it does the entire house, but I can tell you it does an excellent job. If you're interested, just go to Wyse and buy it. Unfortunately, the price has gone up some, but it's still worth every dollar that they currently charge. Stay safe, be free. I hope this helps.
Thanks, Bob. So for those people who have vacuums like the Roomba, mine does the bump and grind where it sort of bumps onto the side and then goes up and down. Whereas in that, you can actually see it's actually looking down and it's using the LiDAR to actually look at where it's going, which is sort of cool, eh? That's cool. Anyway, all right, let's move on. And I'm going to share my screen and we will move on to the next segment. And we will start. Good day. It's Ron Brown with Tech for Seniors.
Today I'd like to talk about creating an email signature. Now you remember the routine. If you like this video, please click the like, and if you want to support the channel, please subscribe. Now let's get on with the video. There are three goals of this presentation. The first is, should you have a signature? The second is how to make a signature. And the third, I want to show you a free program that will do it all for you. So for many years in my Gmail course, I've taught how to create a digital signature in Gmail. And in order to create a digital signature, you have to put personal information into the email. Now, for half of the students that I've taught, they don't want to put personal information into their signature. The other half do. So it is a personal decision you have to make when you're sending out your email, how much personal information you want to put into your signature block. But let's take a look at some examples that I have of some signature blocks you'll recognize. Well, guess whose signature block this is? This is mine. You'll see that I have some personal information here. I am a busy person. I spend a lot of time connecting with people, and I hope they connect back with me. So I want to give them lots of personal information to contact me. So this is a pretty liberal signature block I have, and it even has a little bit of advertising in it. Now let's look at another very busy person as well. It happens to be Bob G. Yes, he is a very busy person. He does a lot of security talks across the country, and in booking and receiving information, he needs to make sure you know what information you have available to contact him. So this is his signature block. Now let's look at another very busy person who I know quite well. Guess who this is? Well, his signature block is two words, Hewie Poplock. So maybe Hewie has decided that he doesn't want to share personal information with you. Not sure, maybe we can ask him that in the question and answer part. And the third is a very colorful person who does a lot of work on this show, Dewey. And I put this signature block in because Dewey has one word in his signature, but it's a written word. We'll talk a little bit about this later. Okay, let me show you how to make a signature block in Gmail. All right, let's see how to make a signature in Gmail. Here we are in my Gmail program. We're going to come up to the top right and see this little gear icon here. This is your settings icon. Let's click this, and this will bring up the first menu, but we want to go to see all settings. So we're now going to click this, and it's loading all our settings, and you'll see that we now are in the general settings of Gmail. I want you to scroll down as you keep coming down, and now you'll see that this is where you can add signature. This is the area here, and you will be going over the signatures I have in a minute, but this is where you create a new signature. You can click this and you can create a new signature. I'll be going over this in the next few slides with you, but this is the area you go to create a signature block in Gmail. Now it will be a little bit different in Outlook and all the other email programs you have, but there will be a signature block feature in all email programs. All right, now I can tell you that to create a professional signature block, one that looks very good, is actually pretty difficult. And you're going to have to spend a lot of time trying to move information around and formatting your picture so you get it exactly as you want. And after many years of teaching this, it's just not as easy as you might think. It does require an HTML template, Now, what the heck is an HTML template? Well, this is where you actually put the computer code into that signature block rather than just putting information in that's generic to the email program that you're using. Now, there are many paid services to do this for you. They often want an upfront cost or a monthly subscription fee. Yes, there is not a lot of free stuff out there on the internet. Now, also, it must look good on all devices. It must look good on the laptop. It must be good on the desktop, and certainly good on the web. So it's got to look good in all the devices that are going to be looking at this. So how to do this? Let me show you how to do it. Now, the demonstration today is going to be on a free software program called Signature Hound. I discovered this last week, and it's pretty darn cool. And you go there by www.signaturehound.com. And when you get there, I want you to sign in or create an account. It's free. Hey, this is free. It's pretty good too. Watch how we do this. Well, it always hasn't been free. The story goes back to Madison Giles. He's the founder and I suppose the sole proprietor of Signature Hound. He wrote this program, and there was a monthly subscription fee and an upfront fee to use it. However, Madison is now a firefighter. He left the computing business and is now a firefighter in Canberra. So he decided to make this site free. Yes, it is free. So when you sign up, there is no charge, and you can use this for free. All right, we have now logged into our Signature Hound site. The setup and login is pretty easy. On the screen ahead of me, you'll see I have an existing signature block called Santa Claus. If you want to create a new signature block, you just click the plus button here, and you'll create a new signature. But for speed today, I've already entered a bunch of data. So let's click on our Santa Claus signature. Now, what I'd like you to do is I want you to go over on the left side. This is super easy to use, but what I want you to do is I want you to go over and there's two parts here. You'll want to enter your personal info and your business info. We'll get to the design in a minute. So let's go to our personal info here. What we've done is I've added a picture, so you can add your picture that you want for your website or for your signature block. You can set the profile width. We've got a name, we've got the job title, we've got a department, email address, and you can put a bunch of phone numbers. And again, there really is no limit to this. So this is what I want you to put in first of all. If you have any further information you want, we can click the business info here. I've added another logo, so you can have two logos. We'll call it Claus Incorporated. And I've also added a website that we have. And here is, again, this is so difficult to do if you're trying to do it on your own. You'll look at all our social media links here. Now you can delete these links just by clicking the X, and you can take whatever you want. This was the Skype one at the end here. You can simply, by clicking this, you can either add it or remove it. However, so you can, if you don't have social media, but if you wanted to include your Facebook site, you could certainly add it, and then it would appear in these links. All right. Now, so once you get all your data put in that you want, your personal information and any further data that you want for business, then you can click the design. All right. And here comes up, and you can then come down here, and I'm not going to go through all these toggles, but you can certainly edit this as well through clicking these toggles, and you can change the font size, etc. And I'll let you play with this. But the big thing is to come up to the top now to templates. And here's where the beauty of this software is. This is the default template we have here, but I can change the template as we come along. You'll see the different types of templates that we can use. And all you have to do is click whichever one you like, and it will make the signature block for you. So you have your choice of, I think there's 8 different templates that you can use. Now, once you decide on, and again, you don't have to re-enter any personal information. It will adjust all this for you and format it for whatever email program you're using. Okay, so now we've decided this is the template we like. This is how it's going to look. We come up to the top right-hand corner here, and it says Install Signature. So we're going to click this, and now we're brought to the next menu where we have all the different email programs that you probably have. Now we use, and what we're going to be creating is a signature in the Gmail web software. So we're going to click this button, and it is going to we're simply going to copy the signature. I'm going to click this button here, and if you look down at the bottom, it says your signature has been copied to the clipboard. One of the things that you need to watch is when you click this copy, if you get a message up top here that says you are over the number of characters you've used too many characters, or your pictures are too big, and it won't let you copy and paste it into your Gmail program. So watch that. So if you're hitting the copy button here and it's not working, there will be a message at the top here and you've got too much information for the signature block. All right, now we're going to come over, and this is your Gmail software, and this is the signature block. I've made a bunch of signatures here, but we're going to create a new one. We're going to call it Santa 2. We're going to create this, and I'm simply going to right click and I'm going to paste this. All right, and this is going to paste it in, and this will have our information that we want. And I'll come down now and we'll save changes, and we will have our Santa 2 signature block. So now when we come to compose a new email, we can come down to the right side here. We'll insert a signature. We will have Santa 2, and there is our information that we have just made. And this is how you can easily make a signature block. You'll see down at the bottom here with our signatures, we can choose any of these signatures that we want. I can choose, this is one that I just made for Tech for Seniors, and it's again all formatted for you that will work well in this signature block. Well, that's how you create a signature block in Gmail with Signature Hound.
Okay, Hewie, are you up?
I just woke up, but I'm up. No, actually, that was very good. Thank you. And Dewey Poplock. Today we're going to talk about
can't
my
hear that.
computer.
I'm going to
stop that a minute.
That was fine.
Uh-oh. Hang on 1 second. I don't think I hit the right button here.
It was fine. I could hear it.
Oh, was it? Okay, yeah. Okay, I've got it there. All right, we'll do it again. Hewie Poplock. Today we're going to talk about my computer history. It may be a trip down memory lane for you, and it also may be a history lesson if you're not familiar with what I'm going to be talking about. My first computer was a Commodore PET, 8K of memory, no floppy disks, no hard disks. It just had a tape drive for storage. In order to do anything on the screen, you had to type in a basic program. Just to say hello or goodbye is what this would look like. I watched a 9-year-old kid play with one of these in the Olson Electronics store, and I said if he could do it, I could, because he was typing things in and things were happening on the screen. My second computer was a Radio Shack TRS-80. I opted for the level 2 with 16K of RAM. It was an expansion box for $849. Floppy disk drives were $500 a piece, so I did not get one of those. I used the tape drive again to use for storage and holding the programs. This is what it looked like, minus the expansion box. I also purchased one of the first dot matrix printers for under $1,000. I bought an Oki Data Microline 80 for $999. My third computer was an Osborne, $1,800. It came with 2 floppy disks. It had a 5-inch screen. It weighed 28 pounds, and it had software packaged with it, which was something totally new. And here's what the Osborne looked like open, and here's the screen at a glance, what it looked like. Here's what the screen looked like, 183 characters across. I also purchased a 300 baud modem. That's what it looked. You could put a notch on the other side and actually turn the disk over and write on the back end if it had a double-sided Mylar disk within the 5 1/4. At the same time, IBM had the IBM 360 mainframes in big rooms, air-conditioned, all the wiring underneath a raised floor. The workstations were dumb terminals connected to the mainframe either by direct wiring, or if it was in a different building, a different city, you might rent telephone time to connect to the mainframe during certain periods. Apple came out with an Apple II, followed by the Lisa down on the bottom, and to the right was the first of the Macintosh family. Then came the IBM PC. I didn't buy an IBM PC. I opted to buy a clone from AT&T, and it was called a PC 6300. It did not have a hard drive in it. It had 1 floppy drive. I later bought a hard drive, a 40 megabyte hard drive. 40 megabytes. Holy cow, I am never going to have to buy another floppy disk, and I'll never fill it up. The software, and back in those days, there was a program called Symphony, which was a little bit of everything from the Lotus. The same people that had Lotus 123, a spreadsheet. Symphony had a spreadsheet and a word processor. It was a combination. It was like an office program. But programs in those days, like the computers, were expensive. Here is some computer pricing back in those days. An IBM PC with a 20 megabyte hard drive, monochrome monitor at $1,800, up to, if you wanted 40 megabytes of hard drive and you wanted a color monitor, you were able to get it at $3,695. But the software was extremely expensive too. Remember I mentioned Lotus 123, a spreadsheet, $399. DBase 2, almost $500. WordStar, $269. But WordStar didn't come with a spell checker. That was another $150. And if you wanted to use a mail merge, that was another $150. And if you wanted to do some indexing, if you were creating big documents and you needed indexing, another $150. So that software became very, very expensive. Moving ahead to 1987, even then, Symphony was still over $450. 123 was over $300. WordStar was $250. Programs were still expensive even in the late 80s. Just to look very quickly, different DOS versions. Remember, DOS was in the first IBM PCs and the first PC clones. However, it didn't become popular until the first computers, the XTs, came out in about 1983. And that was PC DOS 2. And we ran DOS until about 1995 with PC DOS and MS DOS 6.2 and PC DOS 7.0. Then we went to Windows. 1985, Windows 1, on to the current Windows in 2015. It's been around for 6 years now. Here's the Windows version history, starting in 1985 and how it moved from Windows 1, 2, 3, NT, Windows for Workgroups, Windows 3.2, Windows 98, Windows 2000, Windows ME, XP, XP Professional, Vista, Windows 7, Windows 8, 8.1, and then Windows 10. The Apple operating systems, were first introduced in 1978, and they have progressed, and they still continue to update their operating systems. iOS for the iPad and iPhones have been around since 2010, and they haven't had a lot of versions, but when they do, they are major version updates. Androids, the first Androids were about 2008, 2009, and as they have progressed, they were first given names of desserts back in 2019. They decided to go just with the numbering, and so there's Android 10 and 11, and 12 will be coming soon. The Chrome OS was based on the Chrome browser, which came out in 2008. And as the browser has increased, the same version numbers are what are being coming out with the Chrome OS. The most current is version 88. 89 is in beta, 90 and 91 are in very early stages of testing. Linux, there are tons of Linux distributions, or called distros. Just to show you, here's a huge list of all of the ones that are available. I'm not going to even go into all the different ones or what they are. It's just there's a lot of Linux operating systems available, and those are mostly free. Going back in time again, this is an article from 1984. Several hardware peripherals for the Macintosh were introduced. A 5 megabyte Omni drive priced at $1,700, $1,800. An 11 megabyte drive is priced at $2,500. And a 16 megabyte version will sell at $3,200. And a 45 megabyte for $5,000. That was in 1984. Another problem in those early days was the fact that if you owned one kind of computer and even if you had the same software, you couldn't read the disks from other brands and other operating systems. And what happened was a company by the name from Micro Solutions called Uniform allowed the CP/M and DOS machines to actually work on each other's files. What you did is you put the Uniform in the disk and you ran the program, and it said, okay, what do you want to make that floppy look like? And you chose which one you wanted, and then what it did is it faked out the IBM PC and said, okay, what you have is a Kaypro or you have an Osborne, and we're going to be able to read that data and then copy it over to the PC, and then you can stop using that software, and then we'll be able to read the file. Not only couldn't they read the files, they couldn't read the disks. And also back in those days, to download anything, it was slow. Remember, we talked about a 300 baud modem, 1962. If you wanted a 300 baud modem, it would take, and you wanted to download a 1 gigabyte file, it would take 323 plus days. In 1976, we were up to 1200 baud modems, and it would take 80 days for that same 1 gigabyte file. And if you look down today, if you have 20 megabits per second internet broadband, you're doing it in 7 minutes. And if you have 200 megabits per second, you're doing it in 42 seconds. Things certainly have improved. Thank you for joining. I hope you learned a little bit about my computer history and computer history in general.
Thank you, Hewie. I didn't think you were that old. You're muted.
Yeah, I know I had to speak here locally. Sorry about that.
Okay. Yes, thanks a lot. As I said, I didn't think you were that old.
I'm not.
All right, listen, Ray, as I sign off to our live stream, do you want to get ready to roll? I want to thank everyone for coming today who is over on our live stream. We'll be stopping it now. And for sure, we will complete the taping process, and it'll be up on our website later on today if you want to see the whole show. We'll hopefully see you next week. Thanks so much for coming. Ray, I'll let you take over now.
Okay, here we go. Let me get this out of the way, bring this up. Move the screen out of the way a little bit. These always show up in the wrong spot. All right, I'm going to talk today what I believe is probably the most expensive record ever sold. So, particularly with vinyl LPs having outsold CDs last year, I'm going to repeat that. Vinyl LPs outsold CDs in 2020, first time since 1986. This is a renewed interest in this medium, a technology that has been around since the late 1940s, and certainly for 78 RPM records, even much longer. Now, what could these old records be worth in the 21st century? Well, it's just like coins and stamps. It boils down to supply and demand, or in other words, rarity. When there is a one-of-a-kind record from easily the most popular recording artist of the last century, I believe the saying goes, the sky's the limit. So on July 18, 1953, an 18-year-old Elvis Presley, he walks into the Sam Phillips recording studio, which later became Sun Records in Memphis, and records his very first acetate disc of the songs, My Happiness, backed with That's When Your Heartaches Begin. Now, one story that I had heard years ago says he wanted to give his mother Gladys, who he adored, a special belated birthday gift. But in reality, his mother's birthday was 3 months earlier, and the actual record was never given to Gladys, as the Presleys didn't even own a phonograph at that time. Instead, it ended up with Elvis's high school friend, a young boy at the time named Ed Leak. Of course, he gave Elvis the $4 to pay for the session. They went to Ed's parents' home to listen to the record because the parents had gotten a new phonograph, and they wanted to hear how it sounded. When they were done, Elvis left without the record, allowing his friend to keep it. And now, decades later, it was being offered at auction by a descendant. So the auction was held at Graceland on January 8, 2015. Elvis would have turned 80 years old on that day. The winning bid was at first anonymous, but later revealed it was made by a gentleman named Jack White, a 40-year-old American songwriter and the lead singer of a group and the guitarist of a group called or a duo really called White Stripes. This acetate record that cost $4 to record, listen to this, sold for $300,000. What is the ROI here? So White's company, Third Man Records, then offered a limited release of a 45 RPM record from that original acetate of these two songs with all the pops and crackles we're so used to in listening to old vinyl records. I was fortunate to have obtained a copy for myself. So as you listen to this, Elvis's very, very first recording, realize there are no studio musicians, there are no Jordanaires backing him up. This is just a young Elvis and his guitar.
You know, it's amazing he was so young, but had such a deep voice.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's quite amazing, eh?
I think so.
Thanks, Ray. That's really cool. That's not very many people heard that before.
That's for sure.
Hey, continue to amaze us. Thanks a lot, Ray. All right, everyone. It is top of the hour. I want to just say goodbye to everybody. The meeting will continue on till for about another 20 minutes. We'll have a question and answer. Hewie, thanks so much. Keep us abreast.
Glad to be here.
Keep us abreast of your website as it progresses. Bob, happy 61st wedding anniversary. Say hello to Alice for us. We've never seen Alice. Alice needs to say hello sometime.
I'll get her ready so she can say hello the next time.
Okay, thank you. Thanks
She's
a lot.
the shy one in the family.
Yeah, yes. Ray, and we will we'll see you as well. And Dewey, you'll be down eating my oranges, which is great. And did you want to prune my tree while you're down there?
Oh, you know, your tree is not in too bad a shape. I checked that out, but it is shrubbing out quite a bit, so you should get somebody to prune it.
Okay.
You prune an orange tree.
There's quite a bit of echo.
You get, yeah, I think it's Ron.
So how's that? Is that better?
Yes.
Okay, so we will open the meeting up now to the question and answer. As I mentioned to you before, if you could raise your hand, then I guess you could wave your hand like this, but I can't see you. So if you click on the raise hand at the bottom of your screen, then you come up. Greg, we had a comment. Greg, do you want to give us an update on your Starlink? Now, as most people know, Greg actually is an honest to goodness, real-time, paid up user of Starlink. So that's cool. So can you give us an update?
You bet. Right now, my speed is 136. And my
Right.
speed is 20.59.
Mhm.
Echo.
It's a heck of a. It's still buffered. A minute ago, I was checking. It was down to 4, and a couple before that, it was up to 214. Oh, it fluctuates.
I still get we're having some trouble hearing it, like it's an intermittent. There's, again, so there must be, it still must be, it fluctuates quite a bit, eh?
Yes, it does.
Dewey, you're muted?
No,
I believe he's having feedback from his system.
Oh,
is this
okay.
I think the feedback's coming from Ron.
is this any? I'm unmuted and I'm ready to go. I'm talking.
Yeah, you're fine. We were getting
You're
an
fine.
echo. We were getting an echo from Ron.
Oh, well, anyway, do you want me to repeat any of that?
Yes.
Okay, my speed right now was 129. A couple of minutes ago, I ran it and it was down to 30. And before that, I did it, it was up to 212. So it fluctuates. Right now, I'm just running it and it went from 129 and it's at 40.5, 45.6. Right now, and my speed is 19.58. So it fluctuates on what goes on. We buffer, we do streaming TV. Thanks for Dewey. He got us into it about a year and a half ago. And it buffers when we watch Hallmark or any of our stuff. Anyway, good show, Ray. I thought that Elvis started singing gospel. That's just what I had learned many years ago.
He did a lot of gospel, but it wasn't that early. That was later on, by the time he was probably in his early 20s.
One of his first songs that he sang that came out, my mother was a manager of a radio station, and I got a lot of the CD, or not the CDs, but the 45s. I had just gobs of them. And when I got out of high school, I threw them all away. Stupid me. But one of his songs was Old Shep. Do you remember that?
Yes, I have it.
Oh, wow.
Not the 45 on Sun, but I certainly have the recording.
Yeah. Anyway, you guys, I've got to go. I really enjoy this, and thanks for having me on.
Thanks. Can everyone hear me? Is that better?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Thanks a lot, Greg. And we do appreciate you keeping us up to date. Any other questions? Raise your hand.
I have
Murray's
mine
got his-
raised.
Yes.
Murray's hand is up.
Murray, go ahead.
Okay, hi. Well, there's a couple of things. First of all, I posted something in the chat area to everybody. The biggest genealogy convention in history was held last weekend, virtually for free. There were 500,000 attendees, 2,000 presentations, and one of the neatest features, which I think is still available, and you can still register if you're into genealogy, was a feature that said, meet your relatives at Roots Tech. Okay, well, I had 615 relatives. Now, I was very excited at first because there were a couple who related to my mother, and I have never found, in over 15 years, I have not found through DNA matching or anything else, any living relatives of my mother. And I didn't know any of her relatives except for her brother and parents. So I was very excited about that. But in the end, that was when there were about 100 matches. At the 615, there are a total of 3 that matched my mother. All 3 of them are in the same family, and they're related to my mother's father, none to my mother's mother. My wife had 249 people who were attending Roots Tech, and every single one of those 249 was related to her mother, none to her father. But anyway, I think you can still get connect to that. There were some fantastic talks. It was really fun to be in chat rooms with some of the most famous genealogists. Anyway, that was a really great one. The next thing I wanted to comment on was the motion sickness. I started to tell you about my first job as well my first job after I graduated from with my master's degree, and also as a summer student before that. I worked in aeromagnetics, which meant flying in a research aircraft. It was an old military North Star with those Rolls-Royce engines that pointed straight at the windows, so the volume of the noise was extremely loud. But anyway, my very first flight on one of those missions, well, our job was to try to compensate for the magnetic field in the aircraft at the magnetometer. And this involved flying for hours, doing rolls, pitches, and yaws the whole time. And the very first time I went on a flight, I think everybody in the place bet me that I would be sick. And I'm not really prone to air sickness, so I took them up on the bet. But I'll tell you, by the end of the flight, I was lying flat on my back on the floor, holding everything, because I didn't think I could afford to lose the bet. So,
Murray, can you is this genealogy group, but not group, but the conference, is it on an annual basis?
It normally is an annual basis with a registration fee of around $400 or $500 US. Plus, you have to fly to Salt Lake City or London, and then pay for your accommodation. And during that conference, hotels all jack up their prices. So the average tends to be around $300 a night. This year, because they couldn't hold it live, they decided to make it free and open to everybody. And as I said, there were 500,000 attendees.
I know. I got the information on it too late to actually do any posting on it.
Actually, you can still log into it, and I think the chat is open till March 4th.
Okay.
And I got to chat with some of the most famous genealogists, and you got really good replies from them. It was really absolutely fantastic.
Can you put the link in the chat?
Yeah, it's just rootstech.org. That's all it is.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it was. How did they broadcast it? Like, they didn't use Zoom,
it was. Oh yes, it was.
Oh really?
Yeah, it was just fantastic. I might have been. I think it was Zoom. Yeah, either Zoom or Facebook group. I can't remember which. Huh. But in order to use it, you must open a free account at familysearch.org.
Right,
now, anybody who's got any interest in genealogy at all should have a free account there, because that will give you links to all of your ancestors.
Great. Thanks, Murray. George, you had a question? Go ahead.
There was a report that LastPass was tracking, and I wondered if it was known whether this only occurred on mobile devices. Did anybody see that report?
Sorry, report on what was the question again?
There was a report that LastPass had trackers in their software.
Oh yeah, well, that's an interesting situation.
Is it just on the Android, or was it also on the PCs? Because I'm not going to
both. Well, it was both. In fact, I asked Bob about this. There's an article that came out, and I was going to post it on our Facebook website, and it was about tracking and LastPass. And so I ran it by Bob, and Bob, you can comment on that. Do you want to comment on it?
Yeah, tracking, everybody's saying tracking. None of what was being tracked had anything to do with any kind of personal information whatsoever. Tracking is by some people now a big hype, and in most instances it means nothing. It means that they know where you might be located because you have to give your location. That's called tracking. Okay. So just like with cookies, be careful. Yes, there is tracking that you want to make sure you avoid, but there's also tracking that really has no bearing on any kind of giving up of anything whatsoever.
Yeah, this was mostly like most of it was about crash reports, which is fine, but some of it was about some of it was advertising links, right?
But nothing in any way, in any shape or form, identified any individual or actual personal information.
Okay, thanks.
Mm-hmm.
Remember, advertising pays for a lot of what we
do.
take for granted.
And another thing is that, you know, tracking needs to know, for example, when I go to bed or wake up in the morning, Alexa, you know, I shouldn't say the word, but, you know, they wake up, they talk to you, they do sort of things because they know where you are and they know what time zone you're in. So that's helpful for organizing stuff like that. Otherwise, you know, they wouldn't know that where you are and when you go to sleep and when you wake up. So, I mean, there are certain things they need to track to know where you are for the time zone. So any questions? So hopefully, listen, you'll see my signature hound talk is over on our website, and you can watch it. So that's a really cool thing to use. So if you want to create a signature, I just wanted Laverne, I know you have a question. I'll get to you in a sec. I just wanted to ask Hewie because I never have asked Hewie this yet. You only have Hewie Poplock as your signature. Is that because you want to keep your information personal, or what's the scoop on that?
Actually, I use Outlook for most of my emailing, and I have probably 6 different signatures that I can choose from built in to Outlook, and that's the one that defaults. And if I'm in a hurry to send a note or something, I just use that. If I'm responding to somebody who's asked me to speak for the Speakers Bureau, APCUG Speakers Bureau, I'll include the one that includes my phone number and my
So you have multiple
online
signatures.
links.
Okay.
So I have multiple signatures.
Okay,
yes.
sure. Laverne, did you have a question?
Yes, I do. Does anyone else use Dashlane for password management? I've used it for probably 5 years, and it works quite well for me.
Yeah, Dashlane's been around for a while, and I haven't heard anything good or bad, or I've never known anyone that used it except you, Laverne. But I don't think there's anything bad about it. I don't know. I mean, does anyone have any comments on Dashlane?
Dashlane is one of the reputable ones.
Yes, there are several good ones out there. I use one. I've been using it, and I've mentioned this before. Since I had a Palm Pilot, and I bought it for my Palm Drive, I think it was called, and then they came out with one that would work with the PC and then Android, and I have it on all my devices. It's called eWallet from a company called IlliumSoft, and I have to pay for a one-time charge for different devices. Android was a device, so all my Android it works, and so I've got it on everything. And so if I need a password, I grab my phone, I can grab my iPad, I can grab my Chromebook, I can grab my PC, whatever, and I can look up the passwords. But I did sign up for, and I'm using LastPass because I didn't like the fact that I couldn't really export everything without printing it all out. I've got something like 1,400 what they call cards in my
you can export it to a CSV file and import that CSV
but not all of
file
the
to
data.
virtually
Not all of the
everything.
data is there because there's a lot of fields that it uses the other ones don't. And I store everything there. I store keys. I store the software keys. I store dates I pay for upgrades and updates to software and so on. I store all that in my password manager.
To let everyone know that, just to refresh everyone's memory, On March the 16th, there's the changes in terms of service at LastPass. So if you are using the free version of LastPass, you'll have to make a decision whether you want to use it on your PC or you want to use it on your mobile phone. If you want the mobile version and the PC version, then you're going to have to pay for it. And this is one of the reasons why I've been posting, well, Bob made a great video on exporting your data from LastPass. There's lots of, I posted some stuff this morning on our Facebook page on alternatives to LastPass. You know, it is, you're either going to start paying for, I mean, if you want your LastPass on your mobile device and a PC, then you're going to have to start paying. And that will be about, I think it's around $35 a year. So you will, so you'll have to look at that and decide what you want to do. We'll probably have some, I'm going to probably create a video on your alternatives and maybe get that out in the next few weeks and let everybody know. But you really are going to have to start thinking about this.
Many of us
Yeah, but-
only use one device as our main device. I personally don't do anything on my mobile device. Everything's done on my computer. So I really don't care the fact that I can't use it on two different platforms. I'm perfectly happy with it still on my computers.
Sure. And that's, you know, I mean, it just depends on how you use your systems and if you need it to, you know, both, like a lot of people do use the mobile platform. They're on it all the time and they're, you know, and it's a big, that'll be a big problem for them.
Yeah, for me, it would be a really big problem because I have Linux, iOS, Android, Windows, and Mac. And to be limited to only one device would be a terrible pain.
Right.
So I've switched to Bitwarden, and they do have a very easy way to upload most of your data to Bitwarden. Although George Bowden has pointed out that he has an awful lot of stuff in LastPass that isn't just passwords,
right? And
he couldn't. The upload from that isn't that clean.
Right. Marietta, you
has a question.
Sorry, Marietta.
A quick question, please. There was a program recently, I guess, reviewing CCleaner. Do we have it on one of the recent podcasts? Or
so I would refer you to, and maybe Bob can put it in the chat. Bob did a whole thing on CCleaner for APCUG, and that was actually one of the programs at APCUG, and that will give you a lot of information about that. Bob, do you have?
I'd be more than happy to do the presentation for your club. Just contact me. That's all.
There you go.
Eventually you will have the APCUG posting that on their website.
Right.
But that's not the same as having it done in person. So, or via Zoom, but live rather than a cold video.
Right. Okay. I'm with Deerfield Beach, so you.
Yeah, we're having
seen you in person years ago.
Correct.
Okay. I'll let you contact Bob then. And then, sorry, Marietta, you were muted before. Do you want to unmute yourself? You have to unmute yourself. There you go.
I just have a question on LastPass. Does a Chromebook fall under a computer or is it a mobile?
That's a very good question. And I'm not, it's not clear because of course you can use LastPass as an extension in the Chrome browser. So, and you're going to be able to, so I think you're going to be able to do that on a Chromebook because you'll be able to use it as a feature in the extension. And it's not entirely clear on how that's going to work. For sure, if you wanted to use the Android app of LastPass on your Chromebook, that won't work because that is for a mobile device. But I don't know how the extension in the Chrome browser and how they're actually going to be able to limit that. And that, of course, would be free if you use that on the Chromebook. That that's in my jobs, and that's Bob. Do you know that for sure? Does anyone
as far as I
know
know,
the
you
answer
can
to that?
use the browser extension.
Pardon me?
You can use the browser extension.
So if you can use the browser extension, then it'll be fine on a Chromebook.
Yep.
Yep,
But
should be
does
okay.
that fall as a mobile device then?
No.
browser
If you're using
extension.
it in the browser, if you're using it in the browser extension, you could probably use that on any device. Okay.
Okay.
Irving has a question. He was
Yep.
had his hand up.
Irving, you have a question?
Oh, no, my question was answered previously. Thank you.
Okay.
Okay.
Andrew is
And-
next.
Andrew?
You're
Unmute
muted.
yourself, Andrew. There you go.
No,
Andrew,
Andrew, you're muted.
Andrew, you're muted.
Oh, okay.
Okay,
I'm
there you go.
muted. I just bought a new computer and I need to figure out how to transfer things from my old computer. And I don't know what to do to get help. So I guess I'm asking that question.
Are you a member of any clubs at all, or?
The Sarasota Club.
So
here in Sarasota.
there would probably be some resource people in the club that would be able to help you with that.
Okay.
You know, I think that would be there. It's not a difficult thing to do. It takes a little while, and it's not within the scope of answering the question right here because our time is sort of finished. But my advice would be is you probably have lots of resources within your club, and there's lots of people in there that could give you a hand in doing that.
Andrew,
Yes.
Andrew, contact me. I'm Marshall. I'm the webmaster for Stug.
Okay, great. So this presentation is not just the Sarasota Club. It's a larger audience.
Worldwide.
Okay.
Yes.
Worldwide.
Ron is in Vancouver, British Columbia, and I'm in Bradenton, and we co-host.
Yeah,
and
so it's a world-
Bob G's in New Mexico, and Dewey is in Mesa, Arizona, and the rest of the time he's in Wisconsin, I believe.
Yeah.
And Ray is in Arizona full time.
So we're all over
Actually,
the place.
Minnesota.
Minnesota. Okay, well, I know it's up that general direction. Okay.
I thought this was more of a local club.
No.
I didn't realize how large it was.
No. And it's
Thank you all.
free. And
I
it's
learned a lot.
free. And
I
it's
learned a
free.
lot. Yeah, I like it.
And it's free. All right. Thanks everyone for coming. It's oh my gosh, we've gone way over our time limit.
Yeah.
Although we've held up with 57 people. Bob, for your information, there were 20 people streaming. That was the maximum we had on our streaming today, which is probably one of the larger numbers. So we had 20 people on our streaming service for the peak. Okay.
Good.
We'll see everybody next week, same time, same place, same old group of us. Please look at our Facebook page. Have a look at that. This whole recording is taped and will be on the website later on today. And everyone have a safe week, and we'll see everyone next Monday. Bye now.
Bye, everybody. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.